Happy rainy Sunday, everyone. So back when the CT90 came out, Honda also made a little front rack for it that goes in front of the handlebars and above the headlight. And people still sell these on eBay, and they're nice and shiny and chrome. They go for about 100 to 120 bucks. And I was tempted to get one for some added storage. I think that'd be really nice. But I think what I realized about the CT90, and one of the reasons I love it so much, is that it's super customizable. And so I thought I should try to make my own front rack, and I'd like to make one a little bigger than the Honda one. And I have the material and a welder, and I should use it. So let me show you what I have here and what I'm thinking, and let's get started with the build. Alright, so I printed out some photos of the Honda rack, and you can see here that this is how it mounts up. So it goes down to where the horn mounts. There's some threaded holes down in the bottom of the triple tree, and then it gets clamped by the fork bolts up here at the top. You can see you get a little room for the speedo in the front, and then the rack kind of extends out in front. There's a right angle here to sort of pull things towards it. And actually, what's cool about this rack that I will not be replicating is that there's this. You can see this U here. You can also see it here in the middle. That's like a spring, so it clamps down on whatever you put in the rack. I won't have that. I'll just have like a bungee cord or something, but I think it's a cool touch. So what I'm gonna start with for my design, I'm kind of gonna design as I go. And so I'm gonna start with these fork bolt brackets and some rod, and I think I'm gonna make this actually just one continuous loop in the front. And what I may consider doing is actually bringing it out more, kind of like a V, and then also having some straight struts and then connecting them all in the front, just to give me a little more in the front. But yeah, I'm gonna start with making these brackets and cutting some rod to a rough length, and we can go up to the bike and lay it all out. Alright, so I got a couple pieces of rod cut, and I got my two front fork bolt mounting brackets. And I just went up at the bike and checked, and the two holes for the fork bolts are 5.5 inches apart. So that means one's there and one is there. So now I can lay these out here. Good, so those are centered. Now what I have are two 10-inch rods, and this is, I think, 1/4 inch rod, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to lay those on here, and I measured how far they should go back, because obviously if they went back all the way, they'd interfere with the triple tree. So I have a mark on there for how far back they should go. So these two rods are 10 inches, and this rod is 12, and so this rod will join the two like that. And then I'm just going to make sure everything is sort of symmetrical and lined up. And then I'm going to go ahead and tack this together, and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so this is a pretty good start. We have the mock-up mounted, and it looks pretty good. As you can see, it's definitely fans out to be wider than the Honda one, which I like, but it still doesn't feel kind of like too big. So next, I think we want to get an idea of the bracket down here, which mounts off of these two bolts underneath the horn. And we're going to need some kind of bar to come up, maybe on either side of the headlight, which would be kind of nice because it's a plastic headlight, so it could kind of serve as a headlight guard as well. So I'm thinking maybe come out, curve up, and meet it here. And then probably I want it to be one continuous loop that would go across and down again. And that way it would also serve as a little fence to strap things up against. So I'm gonna grab the tape measure and take some measurements, and we can bring some rod out here. Alright, so I just remade this piece. This is the first piece I made that was the 3 rods tacked together. I remade it as 1 rod with some bends. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish weld that to the fork bolt brackets.
Someone else has figured it out.
Alright, so I really want to get this piece and the lower support piece lined up perfectly. So the way I'm going to do that is just mount both of them up, and I brought the welder out here outside so I can weld them together on the bike, and then I'll take it all off and finish weld it, and I'll add some other support pieces and other cross pieces so I have things to tie bungee cords to. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Definitely tacked enough to take off the bike, but I want to actually put another support, little cross piece between here, because I know that when I unbolt these are gonna like spin out of whack. They're gonna get sort of tweaked. So I'd rather weld them together so that the sort of spinning, tweaking force on there is not on the bolts, but it's actually being held together by support. So I'm gonna go cut a piece of, I don't know, some thin bar stock or something and put it across there. And once we weld that, we'll take the whole thing off, we'll finish weld everything, and we'll start adding some other pieces. Alright, so this is starting to look more like the finished product. I'm going to go ahead and finish weld all these tacks around here, and I might grind some of these down a little bit, especially because the flex welder makes a bunch of like sort of specks of metal everywhere around where you weld. So I'll try to ground it down, clean it up, and then we're going to do some bars across here to make it more like a rack. Alright, so I realized I probably should have welded this up on the bike just to make sure all the bolt spacing was staying correct. But I just went and checked and we're still good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and now use this like 1/8 inch stock and probably do 2 bars there, 3 bars here, and then maybe 2 down low here, just in case I want to run a bungee cord down there. May even do, well, we'll see. I might do something here, or I might do some holes in the angle iron so that I have another sort of loop for a bungee cord or a ratchet strap or something. Alright, so I just went and did a test fit on the bike and it fits pretty well. So the last thing I want to do before I paint it is drill 4 holes, one on either the sides and one on either the tops of these angle iron brackets, and that's just going to give me one more point to pull either a strap through or a bungee cord, just because otherwise these are kind of underutilized, these big plates here. So drill out these holes and then we'll get it painted. Alright, this looks pretty good. Just to review, I did 2 coats of this primer, 3 coats of this semi-gloss gray enamel, and then another 3 coats of this satin clear enamel. And yeah, it looks really great. I'm really happy with it. Definitely seems waterproof. Seems like there's enough protection on there now. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt this onto the bike. Alright you guys, that's going to do it for this video. I'm really happy with how the front rack came out. Structurally, it seems very sound. I'm going to be switching out these bungee cords for real, I think like rock straps from Amazon, those like elastic luggage straps.
But even with these, it feels pretty sturdy. The only thing I'll say is that that Rust-Oleum enamel is kind of soft. I mean, it's had plenty of time to dry, and it's still, I don't know, like it sort of chips kind of easily, but it doesn't chip, it sort of rubs off. So anyway, might be recoating the paint with something else in the future, but for now, definitely looks good. It's a great color, and it'll hold for a while, I'm sure. So anyways, that's gonna do it for the front rack, and thanks for watching.